Welcome to Royal Insights, where we explore the stories, traditions, and fascinating details behind royal families and dynasties from around the world. Join us as we uncover the history, culture, and curiosities that connect crowns across continents. Queen Victoria, the grandmother of Europe. Imagine a family reunion. There is food, music, and a bit of awkward small talk. But at this particular gathering, the people sitting around the dinner table don't just argue over who gets the last slice of cake. They rule the world. The man passing the salt is the German emperor. The cousin across from him is the Tsar of Russia. The host is the King of the United Kingdom. And sitting at the head of the table, pulling all the strings with a single look, is a sharp-witted, fiercely determined grandmother. This isn't a piece of fiction. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, this was the literal reality of European geopolitics. And the woman at the center of it all? Queen Victoria. History remembers her as the face of an empire, the stern, grieving widow in black who ruled over a quarter of the globe. But behind the crown and the political drama lay another, arguably more powerful title, the Grandmother of Europe. Through her 9 children and 42 grandchildren, Victoria managed to weave a biological web across the entire continent. She envisioned a Europe united not by bloody wars, but by family ties. It was a grand, romantic plan, but as we will see, playing matchmaker with empires is a dangerous game, and the very family tree she planted to guarantee peace would ultimately set the stage for the most devastating conflict the world had ever seen. To understand how Victoria became the matriarch of an entire continent, we have to go back to her own marriage. In 1840, Victoria married her first cousin, Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. It was a genuine love match, but Albert was also a brilliant political strategist. He and Victoria shared a profound belief. They believed that the future of Europe lay in constitutional monarchies and peaceful alliances. And how do you secure an alliance in the 19th century? You don't just sign a treaty, you arrange a marriage. Together, Victoria and Albert had 9 children, providing them with 9 golden tickets to the royal courts of Europe. Victoria wasn't just letting her children marry for love, nor was she letting them marry anyone. She was highly selective. Every match was calculated to expand British influence, spread liberal values, and keep the peace. Let's look at the first and most crucial move on their geopolitical chessboard, their eldest daughter, Vicky. In 1858, the young Princess Royal was married off to Prince Frederick William of Prussia. The goal was brilliant in its simplicity. Vicky would bring British liberal ideas to Berlin, reform the militaristic Prussian state from the inside out, and create a powerful, democratic Anglo-German alliance. It seemed foolproof, but history is rarely that cooperative. With the Prussian match secured, the floodgates opened. Victoria's children began marrying into royal houses left, right, and center. Her eldest son, Albert Edward, who would later become King Edward VII, married Princess Alexandra of Denmark. Her daughter Alice married into the Grand Duchy of Hesse. Her son Alfred married the daughter of the Russian Tsar, while her daughter Beatrice married a German prince. Before long, Victoria's grandchildren were growing up in palaces from Lisbon to St. Petersburg. As these children grew, Victoria maintained a massive, almost industrial-scale correspondence with them. She wrote thousands of letters, offering unsolicited advice on everything from geopolitics to baby formula. She was, quite literally, micromanaging Europe from her desk at Windsor Castle. By the turn of the 20th century, her grandchildren had effectively taken over the continent. Her eldest grandson became Kaiser Wilhelm II, the Emperor of Germany. Another grandson became King George V of Great Britain. Her granddaughter, Alex, became Tsarina Alexandra, the Empress of Russia. Other granddaughters married into power across the map, becoming Queen Marie of Romania, Queen Maud of Norway, and Queen Victoria Eugenie of Spain. Spain, Germany, Great Britain, Russia, Romania, Norway, all were ruled by Victoria's direct descendants. She had achieved the ultimate royal monopoly. But beneath the glittering crowns and majestic weddings, Victoria's grand family plan carried a hidden, tragic flaw. And it wasn't just political, it was biological. Queen Victoria was a carrier of hemophilia, a rare genetic blood clotting disorder. In the 19th century, it was a death sentence. Because royal families only married other royals to keep their bloodlines pure, the gene spread like wildfire through Victoria's descendants. Her son Leopold died from it at just 30 years old. But the real geopolitical tragedy struck in Russia. Victoria's favorite granddaughter, Alex, passed the disease on to her son, Alexei, the heir to the Russian throne. Desperate to cure her bleeding boy, the Tsarina turned to a mysterious, hypnotic mystic named Grigory Rasputin. Rasputin's toxic influence over the Russian royal family destabilized the monarchy, outraged the public, and directly fueled the fires of the Russian Revolution. A genetic trait passed down from a British queen helped bring down the entire Romanov dynasty. By the time Queen Victoria died in 1901, her dream of a peaceful, family-run Europe seemed intact. But the bonds of family are fragile things when compared to the raw power of nationalism, militarism, and imperial ambition. Just 13 years after her death, the ultimate test arrived with the outbreak of World War I in 1914. Consider the tragedy of this moment. The three main rulers of the warring nations, King George V of Britain, Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, and Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, were all first cousins by blood or marriage. They had played together as children. They had called each other Georgie, Willie, and Nicky in their private letters. Kaiser Wilhelm II famously remarked on his deathbed that if his grandmother Victoria had still been alive, she never would have allowed her grandsons to go to war with one another. She would have knocked their heads together. But she wasn't there, and the family ties collapsed under the weight of geopolitics. Willie sent armies to crush Nicky, and Georgie sent armies to fight Willie. World War I wasn't just a global catastrophe. It was the ultimate tragic collapse of a family business. By the time the dust settled in 1918, the empires ruled by Victoria's grandsons in Germany and Russia were completely destroyed. So, what is left of the grandmother of Europe today? While the great empires of Germany and Russia fell, Victoria's lineage survived. If you look at the modern royal houses of Europe today, the monarchs who still hold ceremonial or constitutional thrones, the family tree remains unbroken. King Charles III of the United Kingdom, King Felipe VI of Spain, King Carl XVI Gustaf of Sweden, Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, and King Harald V of Norway are all direct descendants of Queen Victoria. Her grand political experiment failed to prevent World War I, but she succeeded in creating an unbreakable genetic legacy. She transformed the British monarchy from an isolated island crown into the literal root system of continental royalty. The next time you see a gathering of European royals on a palace balcony, remember that you aren't just looking at world leaders. You're looking at cousins, uncles, and aunts still living in the long, historic shadow of Queen Victoria.